If you don't mind, I see it's 11:01. If you don't mind, I'm just going to give it another minute or two. We'll see if there's a couple more late joiners before we get started. We're going to talk about what makes a club website great today, and the format of this is going to be pretty simple, right? So, I'll take you through a couple of elements of a great club website, and give you some ideas about how you might want to refresh yours or improve yours if you're looking to do so. And then we'll also have a little bit of time afterwards where we can have some Q&A. But this won't be the end of our relationship. If you take something away from this webinar and you're thinking about it tomorrow, you can always send me an email and ask me a question. I'll be happy to answer that for you by email. Take it sort of offline, if you will. But why don't we just go ahead and get started here? I'm going to go ahead and um, I'm sharing my screen. Can somebody who's got their mic unmuted just let me know you seeing this okay? Can you see my slideshow here? What makes a club website great?
Yes.
Perfect. So that's kind of the question, right? What makes a club website great? And we're going to focus today on just four things. One is mobile responsiveness, and the next one is the images and the pictures that we present on our website. Um, the great copy that we put on our website, what our website actually says to the person who's visiting. And the last thing, and this is probably the most important thing, and I'll be quite honest with you, it's not just what most clubs don't really grasp as fully as they could, but what most businesses don't really grasp as fully as they could, and that is the focus on the customer journey. So we're going to get kind of involved when we get down to that. Now, the first thing that we want to talk about is mobile responsiveness. I mean, everybody has a mobile phone by now, a smartphone, an iPhone or an Android device. And particularly in the context of, the types of people that join country clubs or join, yacht clubs or athletic clubs. I mean, they are far more likely to have that disposable income, and they're far more likely to have a smartphone device. And so because of that, we've got to expect that our website is being accessed more and more by people on their phones. So if your website's not mobile responsive, then you're really frustrating or just downright irritating a lot of the people that are trying to engage with your website. Now, really briefly on mobile responsiveness, we know that when we're on like a large computer, big screen like a desktop, that we've got a whole lot of real estate on that screen to play with. So, if we look at this Boston Globe website, it's broken down into columns, right? We've got a picture and some text, and then another column here with a headline, some text, another headline beneath it. There's an advertisement up here. But what happens when the screen gets smaller, or what we call the viewport, when the viewport gets smaller, it's not effective to just make all the content on the screen smaller. We've got to rearrange it. So when we get to an iPad, we see that the Boston Globe only has two columns. We've got this big picture and then some, headlines and excerpts underneath it, and the same sort of thing in the second column. And then when we come to the phone, we realize that there's really just not as much room to deal with. So we've got to be a lot smarter about how we present content. So when we, think about mobile responsive, it's not just a matter of shrinking everything down to fit on the screen. It really is a matter of rearranging it and rethinking what our content is going to look like. So if we were to look at, a website, for example, and if you want to look at your website, and you can just sort of run this test. So grab your website in a browser window like I've got here, and then just grab the edge of it and make the viewport smaller. And you see if your website adjusts to the smaller viewpoint. You can see here this headline text for Elbow Springs Golf Club. It got smaller. The menu went away. It turned into this menu icon, and now it pulls in from the side. When we make the viewport larger, you can see that everything sort of resizes and recustomizes again, depending on what type of a screen I'm on. So that's a really quick, easy way to test and see if your website is mobile responsive. We'll try that with a couple more websites when we get into this website teardown in just a little bit. But let's move past mobile responsiveness now into point number two, which is having the right pictures, the right images. Now, rule number one, and this has to be a hard, fast rule for all websites, and that is no stock photos. I mean, we've seen so many stock photos on so many golf websites, and maybe you're nodding along as I say this, but is everyone familiar with this particular image of the woman hitting it out of the bunker? It's like she's the only woman that plays golf because she's on so many websites. I mean, I don't disagree that it's a great picture. It's just that it's really, really overused. Or what about these pictures of this, oddly diverse a group of people who changed their clothes in between, just at some point during this photo shoot at the golf course, or this guy who's, over celebrating what appears to be about a 3-foot putt that he's just made. These images, they pop up a lot of the time when we're looking at, in this case, golf course websites or golf business websites. And that actually becomes kind of tiresome for our viewers. What's better is to have actual images of our property, because when people come to our club website, a great club website shows them what this club is all about. And while it's great to have images of the property, and in this case, again, I'm focusing on a golf club, what would be even better is images of your members enjoying the property. Putting people in the pictures really tells more of a story about what membership at that club is like, and it helps to invite the viewer into the club, and it helps to invite the viewer into understanding what membership at that club might be like. Now, that might sound a little bit trivial at the moment, but when we get into point number 4, you're going to understand a bit more about why that is so important. Point number 3 is great copy. And there's 2 points to think about with great copy. One is that the layout is really important. So we want to focus on formatting and laying it out. So if you read this text in the middle of the page here, you can see that it says that layout is important. Reading copy on the web can be a strain on the eyes when the font is not the right size, the line length is too long, and the spacing between lines is too tight. Ideally, we'd write short sentences and format them in a way that is easy to read. Now, obviously, this is really terrible layout and formatting. This, however, is much better. Much easier to read because the eye doesn't have to trace quite as far across the screen, right? And the sentences are short, and it's sort of, in a way, it's broken up into thoughts. You can see on the last line it says easy to read, and that's a good way for us to just sort of make sure that our copy is easily digestible. But great copy goes beyond just being easy to read. I mean, we want to be able to use white space as well in our formatting, so that the eye doesn't strain, that the website is scannable, and that people can get the information clearly. So rather than have everything bunched up and maximizing the amount of space we use on the website, getting more bang for our buck like we're feeling, we want to use white space and space things out so it's less stressful on the eye, and it's a lot easier for people to consume the content easily. It separates different ideas on a web page as well, and it puts room in between images and texts so that we can kind of create this feeling of space, which really is what we would like to have in a club. We'd like to sort of have a feeling of a bit of a private enclave away from the world, right? So that's kind of the technical aspect of great copy. And great copy really starts to merge with the customer journey. And now we're going to get into a real, the art, really, not just the science, which we've sort of discussed in those first 3 points, but the art of a great club website. Now, you really want to contemplate these 2 questions. Who is looking at your website, and what are they thinking when they arrive on your club's website? Now, picture this, okay? A lot of the interactions that we have with people when they come to our website is because they've been on Google and they've been looking for something. And they're at a particular moment in their customer journey. Now, if you're not aware, the customer journey is 4 stages. The first stage is awareness. The second stage is interest. The third is decision. And the fourth is action. So AIDA. And our club website serves the second stage, which is interest. In the first stage of the customer journey, our customer might be thinking, there's just something missing from my life. I don't know what it is, but there's something out there that could make my life better. When they get to the interest stage, now they're starting to ask specific questions about that thing that's missing in their life. So when it comes to, maybe contemplating joining a club, they're probably asking questions like, I wonder if I would like to join a club, or what would joining a club be like? And what do I have to do to join a club? Those kind of high level questions. And so they would type into Google something like maybe country clubs in Saratoga, or they might type in, what is the best club in Vancouver, or the best golf club in Vancouver, or the best yacht club in Victoria. These are things that they might type into Google. And what we want them to do then is get a Google search result that brings them to our web page. Now, the next step in the customer journey is called decision. And that's when they've got a lot more information, and now they're weighing their options. But on the homepage of your website, we're not there yet. So we want to be answering this question here on interest, which is, what would joining a club be like? Now, if you're a semi-private club, right? If we're not just trying to get membership sold, but we're also trying to get people just to come and pay a daily green fee, for example, or come and use our club for, you know, a trial period or a day pass, then we should also be speaking to that question. You know, how can that person use this club kind of on a more casual basis? But we really want to make sure that the homepage of our website is designed to answer questions that people are looking for, that they might have in their mind, and lead them further down the path to where they can take a next step, which is inquiring about a membership or booking a tour. So here's kind of one of the biggest mistakes that I think that a lot of clubs and a lot of businesses make is that they don't talk about the benefits of being a member. Rather, they talk about the features of the club. You know, think about it if you go to a party, right, and you're introduced to somebody and they say, you know, Trisha, this is Dave. And then Dave just starts to talk about himself, right, for about half an hour. You're going to get pretty bored of Dave. But if you meet Dave and Dave starts asking questions about you, you know, hey, what do you like to do? Or tell me about a trip that you've been on. And Dave takes an interest in you, then it's going to be a lot more interesting talking to Dave. Well, the website is sort of like that. You know, we want to make sure that the website talks about the person who's looking for the information and invites them into the story that our club is, rather than just telling that person a whole bunch of stuff about the club. So this is what talking about the features is. And I actually pulled this off a club website somewhere in the world. I won't say where. But when we're talking about the features, we'd say things on our website like, our newly expanded wellness center is available to members anytime, day or night, and boasts a full range of user-friendly Cybex equipment for all of your cardio and weight training needs. Now, this is good, and there's some good information in there, but think about it from the customer journey perspective. You know, our prospective member here probably didn't go on Google and type in something like, which club has a wellness center that boasts a full range of Cybex equipment? You know, they probably were looking for clubs with fitness facilities. And so if we wanted to talk about the benefits of the club, we would probably say something like, you don't have to choose between your busy lifestyle and your health goals. You can have it all with 24/7 access to our wellness center. Work out on the best cardio weight training machines whenever you want. That speaks a lot more to something that the customer might be interested in, which is clubs that have fitness facilities that are open 24/7. Or clubs that have weight room or fitness facilities with cardio and weight training machines. So do you sort of see the difference there? When we talk about ourselves, we tend to talk about our features, but when we talk about the prospective member or the user of the club, we tend to talk more about the benefits that make sense to them. So, pardon me, I want to kind of go into now like something we call a website teardown. You know, a couple of people on the call went ahead and gave me permission to use their websites in a teardown. I want to see who's on here. So Lindsay is on the call, and Lindsay was gracious enough to say, yeah, go ahead and let's look at the Derek Club's website. So brace yourself, Lindsay. All right, so this is the Derek Club in Edmonton. Now let's just run the first test to see if this is a responsive website. If I go ahead and shrink the viewport, you can see that it's not actually adjusting. So I know right away that this is not a responsive website. Now, I should say full disclosure, I'm actually working with this club right now on revamping their website, making it responsive, and also upgrading the content a little bit. So we see here that we don't really use a whole lot of white space. It'd be great if we could space this out and kind of make it look a little bit less bunched up. And then when we come down here to look at golf, the copy it says, relax and focus on your game at the Derek's newly redesigned 18-hole championship golf course. We offer comprehensive developmental programs for players of all ages, as well as a nationally recognized junior program. Now, what I like about this website is, first of all, it looks really cool. They don't overwhelm the visitor with information on the homepage. You know, we really just have these three content areas that speak to the most, probably the most queried aspects of the club, which is golf, dining and catering, and what our facility and community is like. What I might try is to upgrade the language a little bit. So instead of it saying, Our newly redesigned 18-hole championship golf course, we offer comprehensive developmental programs. You might want to, reorient the language towards the person that's looking at it and say, hey, we've got a great golf course for you and your friends to enjoy. And if you're looking to improve your game, we've also got developmental programs taught by our CPGA professionals. That sort of thing. Try to reorient that. All right, the second one, Kristen, who I don't know if is on the webinar, but Kristen works at the Saratoga Country Club and asked for a website teardown as well. So let's go ahead and look at this. I'll run the first test to see if it's mobile responsive. Yeah, okay, so it changed to what we call a hamburger menu here when the viewport got smaller, and I can see that the text is reorganizing itself. See, it's moving there. So good, we've got a mobile responsive website. We might be able to make a bit better use of white space here. There's some kind of crowded elements, but generally speaking, I really quite like this. Here's what I might suggest though. Headlines are really important. When you think about the first time somebody gets on a website, right? They kind of scan down like this. They don't read it like a book. They kind of skim it like a brochure. So when I skim it, the first things that I see are these headlines. I say, okay, well, Saratoga Country Club, good. Oh, looks like it's closed. Elevate my game, accessible, level up, culinary delights. Headlines like accessible or level up are kind of ambiguous and they don't really mean something to me. Remember, I was on Google and I typed in country clubs in Saratoga. I didn't type in what is the most accessible country club in Saratoga, or where could I level up at a club in Saratoga, right? So because this speaks to tennis, I might want to have a headline here that really speaks to the member's experience playing tennis. Or because this paragraph right here is about being really close to all of these, major corporations and in these particular areas of Saratoga, Cupertino, Los Gatos, Los Altos, and San Jose, then I might want to make the headline something like close to home, or your country club just down the street, something like that. So I hope this is helpful in expressing some of these keys to a great club website. To recap them, we want to make sure that our website is mobile responsive because we don't want to frustrate people that find us on their mobile devices. We want to make sure that we use the right pictures, and the right pictures are definitely not stock photographs. They definitely are pictures of our club. And wherever possible, they're pictures of current members enjoying our club. For an added bonus, you can actually use pictures that your members have taken. If you have events, or you can encourage your members, if you've got a golf club, to take pictures of themselves and share them with the club when they're out on the course. Or if you've got a yacht club, it'd be great to have some of those great images of your members enjoying the aspects of the yacht club, and to actually have those as the images on your website. That's a pretty strong move. Great copy. Remember that great copy is formatted so that it's technically easy to read, but also that it focuses on that customer journey. The homepage of our website, we want to invite the visitor into the experience of the club and give them a taste so that they can then ask the next questions that we want them to when they get towards that decision phase, which is, how much does a membership cost? What do I have to do to become a member? Is there a waiting list? Can I book a tour? The homepage is supposed to lead them to all of those questions. So I really hope that helps. Thanks so much for being with me today. I want you to stay connected. I want this to be the start of a relationship. Maybe we'll do business together down the road someday. Maybe we won't. But in the meantime, please contact me with your questions about your club's marketing or communication strategy, anything that has to do with your website, but also things that have to do with email marketing and whatnot. We'll be doing more webinars, and I would love it if you would join them. So if you have any topics or things you're curious about that we could address in an upcoming webinar, you can send me an email at roger@totalclubunity.com. I've got your email address now, and I'll send you an invitation to any future webinars that we do. And if you have any questions right now, I'd love to hear from you. You can go ahead and unmute your microphone and go ahead and ask, and we'll answer it for the group.
Hey, Roger, Scott here from Invermere, BC.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, just had a question regarding, the customer and who's looking at your website. And, for us, we're a semi-private golf club. We do have members, but lots of folks from, out of town, and various ages, right from, seniors all the way down to juniors and families. And what's some good ideas to get that broad stroke, so to speak, to speak to them? Or would you rather compartmentalize on your page if it's kind of, hey, I'm a senior, so I'm going to get focused on this part of the website or the web page?
Yeah, that's a great question, Scott. When you've got a diverse customer set, so let's say that at any given day of the week, you're going to have, seniors come out to play maybe 9 holes of golf, and you're going to have, mothers and daughters and fathers and sons that want to play together and have a family experience. And then you're also going to have those, those buddies that drive up the road and they're going to have a weekend golf trip and they're going to spend some time at your course. It's really a good idea then on the homepage that we express these different experiences that you can have at your club and express that diversity. I've played at your facility before, and the one thing that I think golfers really understand is that they're not going to necessarily be on top of each other, that they do know that there's room for a family to have a great family experience. Well, on the other side of the golf course, there's, 2 foursomes back to back with guys that are basically got the beverage cart following them around because it's just such a lucrative opportunity, right? So it's okay then to showcase the fact that, hey, we're a great golf club no matter what you're doing, spending time together, staying active, or having a trip with your buddies. And you can go ahead and just showcase those different experiences right there on the homepage of your website.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Are there any more questions? Philip, Christina, Dave, Tricia? Well, all right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks for being here on the webinar. Like I said, please stay in touch. Drop me an email if you have any feedback from this particular webinar, or if there's a topic that you'd like to see addressed in a future webinar. Please let me know, and I would absolutely love to accommodate you to make sure that that we can answer some of your questions and help your club along. So that's all for today. I want to thank you for being here, Tricia, Scott, Philip, Dave, Lindsay. Those of you who are still on the webinar, thanks so much, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Roger.
Thanks.
Thank you, Roger.
Thanks. Take care.